Okay, welcome to Voice from the Real World. Today we're going to be looking at the bridge to the real world. And this is found in chapter 16 of the text and section 6, the bridge to the real world. Nothing wrong with bridges,
Nothing wrong
as long as
with
you
it.
get on the other side.
The Holy Spirit will provide you whatever you need as long as you think you need it.
That's right. All right, we're going to start. The search for the special relationship is the sign that you equate yourself with the ego and not with God. I think we need to stop right there. Everybody's in special relationships. You're born in a special relationship. You know, you're born into it. Your children are your special relationships. And you formed relationships with schoolmates and friends and teachers all through your life. All those relationships can be, with the help of the Holy Spirit, made or changed into a holy relationship. But what this is saying is, now that you've come to the Course, now that you're have an understanding of the ego and of the Holy Spirit and the contrast of relationships and the purpose for relationships, once you have that understanding of what a purpose for a special relationship was, if you go seeking after that, it's a clear sign you're equating yourself with the ego.
Right.
If you're entering into something with need, that I have to find a need in this other person that is not found in myself, that the answer's not in myself or in God, which is the same thing.
Well, see, one of the great things that I discovered in this was, and really the Spirit began to guide me into it before I was able to get my hands on this tremendous book, was that the personal is what you defend. The personal is what you protect. Your little separate self. You're trying to establish yourself being born into that special relationship family. But again, I go back to the fact that each one of these personalities and these little selves is a world unto itself. So you have to develop your own ability in that personality to defend and support and to feed that. And the greatest freedom in A Course in Miracles to me was to release the substitute for my reality and just be my reality rather than supporting a false identity.
Right.
Ends all identification with the personal. If you're going to make somebody mad or if you're going to offend somebody, you're going to touch the personal. That's what has to be reckoned with. And that's what you feel like you're losing.
Right.
When you see this and you hear this and the voice calls to you, there's something that says, "Oh, you will lose your life." Well, you're going to lose a false identity, and you're going to discover your reality, which is whole.
Right. And that ends up being heaven, which is, joy, happiness,
Peace and happiness.
Right. And as children, not that a child doesn't come into this world, quote, come into the world with a full-blown ego, but it is developing a personality. That personality is based on, it is projecting its wants and needs out into the world, which that wish is to do anything but be your reality.
Reality.
And so that ego need is projecting that out, and it's coming back. Those messengers have been sent out. It's coming back, and now that personality, that false identity, is having to find its place and react to that and adapt to that and make its place in the world where it thinks it finds a level of peace with itself.
See, what we call it is coping.
Right.
What the Course calls it is layers of defense against the truth.
Right. Right. So, again, the search for the special relationship is the sign that you equate yourself with the ego and not with God. For the special relationship has value only to the ego. To the ego, unless a relationship has special value, it has no meaning, for it perceives all love as special. So again, this is false love.
Right. The only love, there is no love except that which is of the Spirit.
Right.
Just like there's no lie.
Right. And, generally, when you're seeking a special relationship, most people are going to talk about that special, quote, love relationship, which will, in a lot of cases, ends up in marriage or whatever, or in some sort of union, false union. But And if you really listen to all the music, you watch the commercials for the Match.coms and the this and the that, you know, everybody's supposedly seeking for this thing. They're trying to find peace in it and find happiness, and they can't find it. So we just keep divorcing, we keep breaking relationships. But this thing, it never ends. This ego never gives up.
Right.
The ego thought. It can't give up.
Right.
Because it's a false thought to start with. So it's going to constantly say, well, you need to find this person. You need to find this to be happy. And it's a totally false
and see, you got
idea.
The Course says you must go back to the source of this. And when we talk about a special relationship, we're not talking about a personality with a personality. We're talking about the son that had a thought that wasn't the father's thought and entered into a special relationship with something other than what it really was, which was spirit life.
Right.
So this is merely an expression or a symbol of that thought being played out.
Right.
And it's saying that my world is a special world. It's different from your world. It's not a joining. Worlds don't join, they collide. So you can constantly try to seek out what you think will bring you this peace, this joy, and this happiness, but you're looking outside yourself, and the self that you are is the spirit, reality being the Son.
Right.
You are the thought of God in the mind of God.
This was initial thought of separation. And that separation is shown in the special relationship. You know, it's kind of like the old church lady on Saturday Night Live used to say, well, isn't that special? Well, what happens is, think about it. If I find a woman and I say, I want that woman for my relationship, I have just separated the two of us from the rest of everybody. I've said this is special. We exclude everyone else. And that exclusion is protected, Jack.
Right.
That's where all the jealousy and the fighting and the cheating and everything else and the temptation to cheat and all that. See, now we've built laws around this thing to hold it together, because it's going to take everything the ego has to try to hold it together. But the ego knows it can't be together, so the ego, quote, wins every time we're trying to do that, because we're on the wrong path.
You know, I told you the other day, it takes a contract to be born. This is a contract situation. You better have a birth certificate, and you got to have a contract to die.
Right.
So this is a contract. If you're coming into my world, I got a contract, and I'm going to win. Based on the whole concept of the thought is about separation. It's not about joining. The Course says that all things are unified in love. Well, what we did is we chose a thought that's the opposite of that. So all things are separated in this thought.
Right. Fragmented.
Because there is no way to unify.
Sure.
If there's going to be a winner, there's going to be losers. It's a dualistic thought system that seeks some type of dualistic balance.
But the true will and desire of the heart of the real man, of the real, not real man, but of the real Son, is to join.
Join.
Right. Because joining is creation.
Right.
And is a reflection of creation.
Right.